Present.
Mr. Lejes. Mr. Marcotte. Mr. Nicholas.
Present.
Mr. Colecki. Mr. Tripp.
Present.
Mr. Whitus. Mr. Whitten.
Present.
Mr. Yates.
Present.
Mr. Cruz.
Here.
You have quorum present. Any public commentary today? Seeing no public commentary, we'll move on to approval of minutes, which actually we will not because the minutes are not quite completed as of right now. Move on to the coroner's office.
I said walk slow.
Morning. Good morning, Mr. Gesner.
Okay, in the October, I had received 91 calls and 19 were made coroner's cases, and the other of 19 cases, 13 have been investigated and have been completed, and the results are as follows. You got that same sheet that I did. Take any questions on that if you have anything on that.
Motion to approve the
I'm not clear.
monthly report from the coroner's office. Mr. Whitten. Have a second. Mr. Evans. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Monthly receipts.
The monthly receipts are a total of usage, and I think it's, you can recognize that. I don't think any questions on that at all.
Motion on the monthly receipts for approval. Mr. Nicholas, second. Mr. Hess, discussion on the motion. Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Nothing really else, just going back to the autopsies on that one page there to show you that we're roughly at 89 right now, 7 already this month here, so we'll be over what we were last year at this time. But also, it's not put in here, and maybe I'll put it in here in the future, that a total so far this month here, we've had 25 extra autopsies from other counties, and also 9 private autopsies that are not in there too. So it's involving a lot of more figures than what the 89 is. And I don't know if you'd like me to put that in there for the 2009 to let you know when we do other autopsies. It's shown, because that's a big factor that I talked to you about when you see my morgue bill is I've got getting that money that comes in from Iroquois and Will and Ford and Champaign County and Vermilion County. That goes to the general fund, and I still have to pay for supplies that come out of it. It all comes out of my morgue budget, and that's what I want to go over in the 2009 with the new board here to kind of maybe illustrate more what happens to our money, learn a little bit more about the coroner's office.
I'd ask the committee's pleasure, but I certainly think we should probably have that information on a monthly basis. Would the committee agree with that?
Yeah. Be nice.
Go ahead and start this and on that.
And last but not least, I want to say that our outgoing chairman, I want to thank you very much for what you've done for my office in the last 5 years that I've been in the coroner position and as chief deputy. Carl was always through our office when I was down at 189. He's always been out to my office out there in 3000 Justice Way. I can't say enough about you, that what you've done for me and for the county here, and for the facility I've got. And I always talk about the whole county board, but you've always been there to, every time I get a problem, I call you, and you're very understanding about it, and you come out and talk to me about it, and I'm going to miss that. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Go on to judicial. Judge Erickson.
Good morning.
Morning.
The, I don't know if anybody noticed it, but we had a line again outside the courthouse yesterday, and it seems to be, that's the second time now in about 6 weeks, isn't it, Tim? And I would say that it's it seems to be limited to Monday mornings and jury mornings. And probably related to the fact that we requested that the jurors come in at 9 o'clock rather than 10 o'clock. So we did that for the reason that we wanted to, at least one of the judges wanted to be able to begin jury selection in the morning rather than the afternoon, because it takes a while to process the jurors after they come into the courthouse. If we go back to having the jurors coming in at 10 o'clock, I think that's probably going to alleviate the line problem that we've experienced now a couple of times. But it also means that all the judges have to wait until 1:30 before beginning jury selection on a case. So there's a trade-off there. We'll work with that, I think, and try to. If it turns into, if it happens every time, we'll probably end up having to go back to having the jurors report at 10 rather than 9. Speaking of jurors, I don't have very much specific to bring to your attention this morning, but I did want to offer this observation that we have 4 jury courtrooms in the courthouse, and yesterday we had, and this is happening fairly often, we had 3 of the 4 jury courtrooms ready to go, the trials ready to select, and one of the courtrooms had to wait because we only had jurors come up in panels of 40 for jury selection, and we had 87 jurors that reported. And that is, that's maxing out pretty much the jury assembly room capacity. In fact, I don't even, that might be more than the capacity. So we have a significant limitation on the business that we can do based on the size of our current jury assembly room and also the number of jury courtrooms. We are consistently now, I think Jamie would agree with this, because 3 of the 4 jury courtrooms are criminal. One is civil, Judge Wenzelman's. We are consistently ready to roll with 3 or 4 cases for jury trial on a Monday morning. Yeah, and we have to start about Monday. You might ask, well, what about staggering them? Let's start one on Monday, one on Tuesday. Well, our period of jury service is 1 week, and most of these cases are going to last close to a week. It's hard to do a jury trial in less than 3 days. And most of these jury trials are going to last 3, 4, 5 days. And so that's why it's important for us to get started in an expeditious fashion. But we have, and we are going to, for the apparently for the foreseeable future, be working with the constraint of a jury assembly room that is not large enough to accommodate the number of jurors that we are going to that we now need and are going to continue to need and are probably going to need more of. We also really need an additional jury courtroom, which obviously we don't have. I suppose we could ask Bob Hart to sort of put together one, craft a jury courtroom out of what used to be something else down on the first floor. And you're probably going to have to do that down the line. We have no jury court. Most courthouses would have a jury room for a visiting judge, because it's fairly often we'll have a case that for whatever reason is assigned to an out-of-county judge. We don't have that. So anyway, that's my report. Any questions?
Questions, comments for the Chief Judge this morning? Seeing none, anything else for us?
Okay. No, I just want want to echo what Bob said to Carl. It has always been a pleasure working with you, Carl, and we will miss you very much. I know my report sounds a little sour, like, gee. But that is certainly no reflection on Carl, and it's not a reflection on the board members. Carl has always done everything within his means to accommodate the court system, and there have been a lot of improvements, which I suppose, have just as easily touched on this morning over the past several years. The fact that we now have a self-help center, the fact that we have seen just a growth of services by the court system, and which is sometimes it's a challenge because of physical limitations, but I feel like we are offering a better service to the public, and that's due in very large part to the support that we have received from the county board under the leadership of Carl. So Carl, thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Glazer. Well, Lender's office. The monthly report is in your packet if you have a chance to review. Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. The monthly report is in the agenda packet. Nothing real unusual about this month. Again, the only number to kind of keep an eye on is the traffic. Combined the pending traffic plus the felony traffic, we are very close to 2,600 now. It's hard to believe. I think it was only about 3 years ago, 84, that I was here, and we were worried about being at 1,000. Other than that, we closed more felonies than open. That's always a good sign. And everything else is pretty routine.
Motion to approve the monthly report. Mr. Tripp, second Mr. Wood. Do we have any discussions, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'll take a couple minutes too to thank Mr. Cruz. I've only been the chief public defender since 2001, but every time we've had a problem or needed something or just some input or consultation, were always there for us. And that historically was not always the case, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed.
I'm giving it to everybody else. I thought they were gonna do a dance for us or something.
In fact, I am. There you go. Good morning, everyone. You do not have my report in your packet. I apologize, but due to the illness of my staff members, this didn't get done. I'll bring it to you next month. The only thing I wanted to report is, for those of you who are not aware, we lost Sharon Milhone Malone as a employee. She was our grand jury court stenographer. She had moved to Florida because that's where her husband took a job with the TSA. And we are in the process of hiring a new stenographer for the state's attorney's office, and then in turn for the other departments who may need to use them at some point. So that's all I have to report. Otherwise, things are fairly good at the state's attorney's office, and you don't let him ask any questions. He's just going to ask something silly.
Mr. Gester?
No, it's not silly. I'm gonna set up an inquest today, so who do I use for a stenographer? I mean, Sharon was our stenographer.
When are you going to do the inquest?
Well, when's the jury stop?
Call my office this morning. If you
Okay.
need one, we'll get you a stenographer.
Okay,
Okay?
thanks.
As far as thanking Carl, thanks for all the 7 o'clock meetings that everybody thinks you don't go to, so.
Morning commute.
Good morning. My monthly reports are attached.
And I believe, did everyone see, I think last month we had a question on the drug education class fund. There's an explanation in your packet.
And Mr. Hess had asked me about the drug education class fund, what it was for, and if it could be used for drug court.
That I'd entertain a motion to approve the monthly report. Mr. Nicholas, second Mr. Hess. Questions? Discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
That's all I have today. I'd also like to take a moment to thank Carl and enjoy your retirement.
Mr. Einfeld, probation?
I don't have anything today.
You have nothing today, sir? Okay, thank you.
Are you gonna say anything nice about Carl? All the lunches he bought?
Move on to Sheriff.
You leave the house.
Thanks, bud.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Deal, month off here.
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning. Let me begin by thanking Carl for cutting 7 police officers out of my budget. I'll get back to that later. The census report, on the shorter page, this document gives you a month-by-month breakdown of where the inmates came from and the revenues generated and the number of inmates in the facilities. You can see that in the month of November, we had 0 from Cook County, and that's because we had to move Cook County out. We didn't have room anymore. We got to 719 in the facility, which is way over capacity. And money's not the most important thing, safety is, and so we moved them out. But I think all of you know that the objective put down by the Finance Committee was for us to generate $7.7 million in revenue out of this program. And as of the 16th of November, we had generated $7,843,000. So we were $143,000 to the good. And in the bottom, in the center of this page, you'll see where it says projection. We're projecting that we're going to finish about $552,000 to the good, above the $7,700,000 in Fed rentals. So it's a program that I will commend Carl for. There are a lot of people who were doubting Thomas's and said this program wouldn't work. There was some risk involved, but we did our homework, and I think that this demonstrates that we were right on, that you get to the point you train people away. During the latter part of October, Cook County came to us and wanted to rent an extra 100 beds. So as you can see, we started the year with Indiana. We had no Indiana federal inmates. And right now we're averaging over 102 Indiana federal inmates, along with 263 from the Chicago program. So the feds have promised us 300, and we're sitting at 365. So again, our homework worked out well there. We knew that the Cook County, and again King County they promised us an average of about 60 inmates a day through the program, and until their new facility opened up, you can see we're averaging 58. The King County facility opened. In last week's Tribune, there was an article about that the jail was full when it opened. They have 2 empty floors. That, like us, they had built the shells, and now they're trying to determine what to do. They're currently seeing inmates to us and to Kendall County. Kendall County is full, so they're not sure what they're going to do. They've asked us about our capacity, and we told them that we're pretty much there ourselves. This is the time of year. This is the end of my 12th year as sheriff, and then I go back an additional 5 years or 6 years being in charge of the budget for the sheriff's office. And the trend has always been there that right about now, in October, November, the local census goes down. December, the kindness of our judges becomes very apparent, and that's the lowest census. And then after the first of the year, it moves up a little bit, and then plateaus until about May, and then it goes back up again, and that's when we hit. You can look over there at the left-hand column where it says local inmates. You get an idea what we're talking about, so that it gets pretty low, and then December compared to November, you can see the big difference. So we'll see that drop, and then January is kind of a low month as well. So just gives you an idea of where we're at. We're averaging 372 paid inmates per day. And again, we believe we'll bring in about $8.25 million. So on the second page, there's a little more detail. In addition to the bed rentals, which was the number you saw on the previous page, this shows some of the other revenue, and again breaks it down by month. You don't see the census here, you see the revenue that's generated by month. So that as of November 16th, we already generated $8,334,000. We believe that by the end of the month, when all is said and done, we'll be somewhere over $8.8 million, which would be our books about $1 million, $1.1 million above what we projected. I know Mr. Hart continuously, not the finance committee, the full board complains that the sheriff gets special treatment, but I'm always allowed to go over budget, and out of the goodness of the hearts of the county board that you adjust the budget. What she doesn't understand, and I can't get through to her, is that during the course of the year, as the new fiscal year begins, I don't know how many trips I'm going to make to Chicago next year. I don't know how many trips I'm going to make over to Hammond next year, or to McLean County, or to Kane County. We get reimbursed for those. I don't know how much we're going to get reimbursed for medical. But you can tell from the last sheet that I gave you, where it says salaries underneath the Chicago and Indiana inmate columns, you can see that we're getting somewhere, if you take the October numbers, about $27,000 a month on salary reimbursement, which is the overtime that you're seeing. It looks bad in our budget, but that's why. And there's no way I can put it in there ahead of time because I'm given a bottom line budget. So if she wants to go to a line item budget, she can do that. I think all of you recognize that by statute, elected officials are not required to do a line item budget. So we could tell you to go ahead and have fun, but we're not required to do it. You could put anything you want there, and we can spend it any way we want to, as long as we don't go over the budget. we've always tried to accommodate and use the county system, but we can't be mandated to do it by a line item budget. That's more of an accounting procedure just done, and we agree with it and we do it to try to track what happens. The other thing that I don't think she understands is our inmate medical bills are up this year. One of the reasons was is we have an inmate who's in for murder who has HIV. State law requires that we provide the same care that that individual would receive in the community. It is very expensive. His medications are very expensive. He's not the kind of guy, because he's in for murder, that you can cut loose. So those are the kind of things that are unpredictable during the start of the year. We've looked into in years past by insurance, so that we pay the first $50,000 on an inmate. After that, the insurance kicks in. That's pretty expensive, and we found this, in my experience of doing this now for 18 years, I guess, that would not be a benefit. I think but 2 years that I've been doing this, that we would have been okay with that. We would have lost money in the other 16. So I think looking at the long term, it's not like we ignore that and don't consider it. We do. But same thing. Just a couple phone calls from any of you. If you have questions about the budget or anything else, call me. I'd be happy to explain it to you to the best of my ability why the numbers are what they are and what's going on. So if there are no questions, I would submit these reports.
Very good. Mr. Ernst?
Morning, Sheriff.
Good morning.
I have to admit, 2 years ago when I came here, I was really skeptical of this program. You kind of changed my mind. There is one thing that I think people neglect to take into consideration is not only are you making money, but you're having an impact on employment here. Approximately, how many people are you employing through this program that you would not employ if we just had our own inmates? I mean, that's got to be, a big plus, I would think.
It's at least 75 people are employed because of this program, and they make a decent salary. They have benefits, and if you use the example that Mr. Cruz used at the county board meeting, that the $1 turns is spent 7 times. That's not a bad deal. I mean, if we had an industry that came in here and created that many jobs. The other thing is that, in 2004, we spent about $4.6 million taking care of our own inmates with no income. And now our budget, I think it's like 6.7 for this year. So it's only gone up 2.2 million, and we've brought in this case, almost $9 million. So, it's a program that I don't think is received the credit that it's due. I think it's talking to Mr. McCarty, talking to the treasurer, Mark Burchett. This program has kept us afloat. And to me, my comment has been that these are reserve funds until we pay off the debt that we borrowed money. Once that's paid off, to me, that's your new courthouse, or whatever program you as a board decide that you want to go after next. And so, it's not just me, it's my staff, it's Mike Downey and all the guys over there, the people who work in the trenches with the inmates. The inmates now are getting programs they've never had before on anger management, learning how to use computers, just drug abuse, and so many things are going on now that we never had room for before and didn't have the funds for before. Now we actually have that, and to me, it gave us the resources to be a much more complete jail. I got a call yesterday from Oklahoma wanting to know if I'd come down there and help them build one of their facilities, and I said that's not a business that I'm in. I have my own job here, told we'd help them any way we could in terms of ideas and concepts, but the reputation we've earned is that we've did it the right way here, and Kankakee has a very positive name, not just in Illinois, but throughout the country. And the federal government very much likes what we do, and that's why that population has grown. They've pulled them out of other facilities because of the types of programs we can offer. The medical care that we provide is second to none in county jails. And so I'm proud of what we've accomplished, and we owe that, from our perspective, to you, the board. Had to trust the program we developed and the business plan we developed was the one that was viable and would work, and you gave us the resources to do it. And now you're seeing the return on that investment. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments for the sheriff this morning?
Thanks, Carl.
Thanks, Sheriff. We'll move on to old business, the probation, security, and public defender's office space discussion. I just would like to tell you, I think we're bringing very good news to this committee today. This is just for, this is informational only at this point. I've had the opportunity the last few days to meet with the Chief Judge, Mr. Glazer, Mr. Einfeld, Jamie, and the Sheriff. What we're looking at here is we're looking at taking care of several things. There was some space that has come available at the City National area. As we looked at, it's going to be plenty adequate for the size of the Public Defender's Office, with the opportunity to move them out of the basement, the opportunity to move them into a professional setting, the opportunity to get them away from a closed-in area with no windows, hardly a bathroom down there. The price was very, very good over there. We're looking at also moving some of the higher risk clients of the probation's office to the courthouse, which would address a security issue that has been brought to this committee many times over in probation. We're also looking at possibly a holding area in the vacated area of the basement, a holding area for prisoners to get them out of Judge Elliott's quarters. This will also possibly address a grievance and possible future grievances for safety with the probation office. Probation services, their fund will be able to fund this from year one. And along with some continual fees coming in from the Public Defender's Office, we feel we can carry this program forward as far as moving them over. This is going to address about 4 different things, basically with one stone here. As the committee recalls, we did an analysis as far as the probation office, as far as security over there. We're in upwards of about $180,000. So I think we can do the math here. We've had the opportunity also, I spoke with Kevin Duvall briefly on this, as far as what it would take over there. I'm certainly open this up to discussion. We have everybody here that's involved in that. I'd ask any of the department heads to chime in as something I've missed here. Does anybody, gentlemen, do you have any additions that maybe I've left out here? Discussions from the floor? This would be about $40,000 to start this up. Like I said, probation services fund will take care of that year one, and then the ongoing fees coming in from the Public Defender's Office. I think we tighten those up and do a little better analysis on the ability of some of the clients to pay. We'll take care of the future funds on this. Mr. S?
Thanks, Chairman. You say 40,000 for startup or 40,000 for the first
Well,
year?
year one.
Year one, okay.
Year one with startup.
Okay.
My apologies,
Yeah,
yes.
that-
The rent would be $30,000. It's about $10 a square foot, about 3,000 square. Mr. Nicholas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. what fees are we getting in from the public defender's office now that makes us think that that'll pay for that?
Well, there are fees that are coming in, I think, in the upwards of around 8,000 approximately a year. And with discussions, we feel that that has been overlooked as far as some of the client's ability to pay. Some of the, I don't know, the affidavits, questionnaires that maybe come to the courthouse as far as their assets, they haven't been looked into hard enough. We feel those can be tightened up. And we believe that those fees will take care of this in the future. Year one will be taken care of. The way the fees are set now, year two will be a definite, we'd be all right there. We might have to take a look at this again in 2 years to make sure that these funds are coming in properly. That will take care of this, but we can, like I said, reanalyze this in a couple of years. Mr. Glazer, come on up to the microphone. Turn it over there.
I just wanted to add, 10 years ago, we collected over $18,000 in public defender fees in that year's money, which obviously is different than it is now, so the ability is there.
Any other questions? Like I said, we'll certainly keep you informed on this. We're just going to bring this for discussion purposes only, informational. And I think I said we can address an awful lot of things with one action here. Seeing no discussion, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Mr. Enns? Mr. Tripp? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.